With justice, which has been served on one of Nigeria's most notorious kidnap kingpins. That's the Federal High Court in Abuja has sentenced Hamisu Bala, also known as Wadume, two others to 7 years imprisonment. Justice Binta Murtala Yako convicted Wadume of 2 of the 13 charges leveled against him. The court also convicted Aliyu Daje, a police inspector, to 3 years imprisonment for tampering with the record to conceal a crime. Wadume and others were charged with kidnapping, murder, terrorism, and possession of illegal arms following the killing of 3 IRT police officers and 2 civilians on the 6th of August 2019 by some soldiers. Jide, we said it when this thing happened in 2019 that we are not going to leave this case until we see that justice is served. Today, the slow acts of that, with this thing might grant so very slowly. How do they put it? But definitely, it has been served.
The will of justice grinds slowly.
Slowly, but definitely it has been served now.
Yes, but many Nigerians expected the judgment to be stiffer than what we got. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Because in the same country where Baba Ijesha will be sentenced to 16 years for attempted sexual assault. He didn't rape. He didn't rape. An attempt in the eyes of the law, an attempt at sexual assault of a minor has been jailed for that length of time. And then Wadume, described as a notorious kidnapper. Maybe the case was bungled because, just as the former chief CJN said, a case is like building a house. If the foundation is good, chances are that you will succeed. But if you build a case of faulty foundation, you don't expect the judge to now help you.
Yeah.
So he said that before, because sometimes people will ask questions, why didn't they sentence this person to death? Why didn't this happen? But you are not part of the trial. It is the fact before the judge that will enable the judge decide the fairest way to handle the matter. So in this case, I don't know if the matter was bungled and the facts presented before the judge were not sufficient for the judge to deliver a much more, give him a stiffer punishment. Because this is not what we expected. 7 years, and given the fact that he's been detained for some time, he's not going to spend this...
another 3 years.
He's not going to spend all that time in jail. So,
look at him, he's not even remorseful.
No, because he will tell himself that he will, by now he will have known when he will come out.
He's not even wearing a very fine shirt. Look at Wadume.
So the thing is, the one that really bothered me is the role of this Inspector Daje.
Yes.
Daje was station officer at EB Divisional Police Headquarters. He tampered with the entry made by the leader of the IRT, which indicted the Captain Tijani Balarabe and his team of committing terrorism by killing those policemen. Officers. So that particular entry, knowing that Balarabe had been indicted, he decided to tear that page off the entry into the police records. He decided to tear that page. So he was jailed 3 years. We have asked the question repeatedly, where is Captain Balarabe? Captain Balarabe, I think the army was not convinced that Balarabe was an accomplice. What some people told me in Abuja when I was investigating this story was that in EB, many people did not know that Wadume was a kidnapper. That even the captain himself did not know that when they were taking him away, he was raising alarm that he had been kidnapped. And unfortunately, the policemen didn't stop at the first checkpoint. They didn't stop. So at the next one, they opened fire on them. So it's like, according to army officers I spoke with, that Balarabe was close to this person, just the same way they post you to somewhere. And some of the civilians there, you will be close to them, they play competitions, you join them. They were saying that they were convinced that Balarabe did not even know that this fellow was a kidnapper.
Okay.
Yes. So, again, we do not know whether he knew or he pretended not to know.
He did a bit
but his own colleagues are not convinced. But the army they've detained him indefinitely. I don't know if by now he's out, but they detained him in spite of that. So this matter is just intriguing. The interest of the Attorney General of the Federation is what I don't understand, because he was the one who told the police to hand over the file to him. The police were prosecuted. You know, the first thing the police did was to arrest their own people who were culpable.
Yes.
So the police were hoping that the court will order the Chief of Army Staff to produce Balarabe in court in order to ensure that that didn't happen. The Attorney General went on the day this matter came up, and it was thought that the judge will ask for Balarabe to be produced before him. Since the case are taken off, the Attorney General demanded for the file of that matter from the police and told the police to hand over that to him. That's why you see that it is the office of the Attorney General that prosecuted this case. The police were made to hands off.
Anywhere we have this kind of situation where you have interested parties upstairs, and this case, there's a tendency that the element of politics would becloud the substance of the case, and this is where we are.
Yeah, this is where we are, and this is sad for us. You see, for a country that is battling insurgency, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, when we allow things like this to happen, we are telling the world that we are not ready to end our problems. We're actually telling the people that the authority is not in a hurry to see an end to kidnapping. But women like the man in Lagos, what's the name of the other? Evans, are celebrated kidnappers. And these are cases that Nigerians and the world over will be hoping we will use to establish our determination. If kidnappers in the forest hear this news that Wadume will go to 7 years, remove 3 years from 7 years, and the usual counting of in another 2.5 years, he will be out, probably to continue his business. His investments are waiting to enjoy his loot.
Because if you remember, Jide,
if that
there was one transaction that was said he collected 100 million.
There was another transaction. There was another transaction.
The shocking thing is, he was not even convicted for kidnapping.
That's why if you look at it.
Okay, illegal dealing in prohibited arms and escaping from lawful custody. Those were the two grounds upon which.
That is why I want to agree. I want to agree with BKO that this case must have been bungled. Was it bungled mistakenly or intentionally? That's another question. Because how could you have a case as clear
what
as
did they plead before the judge?
Then the Attorney General of the Federation, who took over the case, his office prosecuted this person. What was the interest one? Then what relationship existed all through this case between him and the police? Don't forget, the police is a seriously interested party. Yes. They lost men. And I'm sure in the spirit of esprit they want to ensure that this man gets
justice,
the worst punishment he can get. But if we want to say this case is bungled, from which quarters?
Let me take this call. Prince Enaoro is calling us from Ojodu. Thank you for joining us, Prince. Hello, Prince Enaro. Okay. I'm having difficulty connecting him. Okay. Julie, so it's not a straightforward case.
No, we need
We
to
are not
do-
satisfied.
We are not. We need
7
to do
years.
more
No,
investigation. You know, even the judgment came as a surprise to people. We didn't know.
Nobody knew it was coming up.
Honestly, I didn't even know that this case was
Very few
on.
people knew it was coming up.
Media was not covering it. Or did you hear?
No,
about
it was in
the
the
case
dark.
coming?
We know the,
I
we
don't
thought
know
the
what
trial
happened.
Those are the
started.
questions we
thought
will ask.
The trial was frustrated.
Yes. So what is going on? Are they saying that that particular billionaire that he collected 106 million from, are they saying that
It didn't come forward?
It didn't happen? Because the part of the charge was that he collected the money before releasing the man. You know? But this was not even what I heard earlier. You know? Even from the police. What we heard earlier was that this guy will take money and still kill people. So we don't know. If Wadume was described as a kidnapper, how come we could not even secure his conviction
For kidnapping.
kidnapping? We are now securing his conviction from escaping from lawful custody and illegal dealing in arms.
Firearms.
Those were not even, remotely connected
Nobody
to the
is
matter.
thinking about that.
They make, in this same country where some people are sentenced to death for kidnapping, some to life imprisonment for kidnapping, someone will now get just 7 years.
Meaning
We are not ready.
he was not prosecuted for kidnapping.
No, it was not.
So what happened to the evidences
The Wadume I saw was-
because
presented?
the judge discharged him on,
different from
on that.
this
On
one.
all
Wadume
those,
that I'm
they said
seeing
2 out of 13. He was
Emboldened
convicted
now.
for 2.
Ayo, you know, we've always said here that let's not be too quick to imagine that a case will go along this line. When the other day we were talking about the Accountant General of the Federation, less than 2 weeks after, we are hearing that they are talking about plea bargaining.
Bargaining.
And the thing is, by the plea bargaining law, the man, in exchange for not wasting the time of the court, he can forfeit the billions that he stole and he will walk away. It happened in the case of the former Controller General of Customs, Diko Inde, who is now dead.
The late.
The EFCC was handling the matter. One day in court, the office of the Attorney General showed up and told the EFCC, hand over. Because we started talking to him, he wants to return what he stole. Hand over. The EFCC was shocked.
But they have no choice.
But they have no choice because the powers of the Accountant General, Attorney General, ensure that he can discontinue any criminal case without anybody raising a
fiat
finger.
for prosecution. Approves
You
fiat.
can, you can say, okay, we no more
They are not
prosecution.
interested.
What are you going to do? The law permits him to do that. So you will just be helpless. EFCC will be helpless. That look, this case that we had a sleepless night on,
Over.
somebody will show up in court and say,
It's the same thing in the case of this Wadume guy. How do you think the colleagues of the slain policemen will feel?
honestly,
That,
it's like
after it all, we lost men. We were on this man because he was taking lives and collecting money. We got him. We lost our own men. We
He
finally,
was not indicted.
and now
for him to
this is
Ayo,
what he got. 7
for
years.
for the IRT team to have gone all the way
They must have been
from
on his trail.
Abuja to Taraba State. This guy must have been a hardened.
They must have been on his
Hardened,
trail
yes.
for
Yes.
some time.
If it's someone that is so difficult to prove a case of kidnapping against him, I don't think the IRT team will go all the way to one of the farthest points in our country.
Even after his arrest, the facts that he made from the police, from his victims, and so are enough to say, look, we are trying this guy for terrorism. But what do we have on our hand? I think somebody should offer an explanation. I think we should not end this matter this way.
No.
As people,
Journalists are trained to ask questions.
we must
We
ask
will
questions. The office of the Attorney General should help us with answers to certain puzzles.
Maybe we don't know certain
With
things. Yes, we have to
like
ask.
you always want.
Yes,
Maybe
we
there
need
are
to know.
things not clear to us.
All right.
We want to know.